Hello and salutations to everyone, and welcome back to the Sex, Drugs, and Jesus podcast. My name is Devan Serafino. I am your host, and I am so glad to be here with you today. God's blessings be upon you, heaven's mercies, and all the help of all the celestials and all the celestial realms, darling. Yes, I speak kindness and protection over over you all. Lord Jesus, I speak kindness and protections over you all during this very karmic time that we are in. Today, we are going to be talking about the three stages of the zodiac for our air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. We already done the earth signs. That was last week. Before that, it was the water signs. And then before that, it was the fire signs. And then before that, we had done an episode to lay the foundation for the episodes to come. So we talked about the history of the zodiac, what decans are, what mutable cardinal fixed signs are, and all of that as we talk about those things. Episodes to come will include talking about the planetary houses and in getting into that'll be after I go through all the tarot cards and things like that. So the next episode I plan to go over the like first half of the major arcana, going from like the Fool to like right around like the Wheel of Fortune or something like that. I got it in my notes, but then I will get to the planetary houses, and then I will do a global reading and kind of, as much as the spirit gives me during that reading to come up, show you how it can like tie together, but you can only deal with what the spirit brings up in a reading because that's just how it goes. So, oh, then the website is sexdrugsandjesus.com. Over there we have free courses, different lessons, resources for a lot of mental health issues, LGBTQIA concerns. There's, of course, the podcast episodes there. There's my blog over there where we talk about quite some titillating things. Our YouTube is Sex, Drugs, and Jesus podcast. We are on most social media, but we really use YouTube a lot and TikTok a lot. YouTube has a lot of playlists that I've curated. I have like LSD psychedelic visual playlists. I'm building an LSD, just like dance music kind of playlist too. I have fitness playlists, help for divine masculines. There's different playlists and on our YouTube channel. So if you get a moment, you feel called and led to it, hop on over, baby. Yes. So what are the qualities of air signs? Our air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. They are the thinkers. They are idealists and communicators of the zodiac. The element of air is one that allows for freedom, liberation, and a breath of fresh air. So people born under an air sign are adventurous, curious, and ever changing, just like a breeze. Air signs are known for their curiosities. They seek to understand different perspectives before making up their mind. They crave connection and genuinely want to get to know others on a deep level. After all that synthesizing, they'll be able to offer ideas, always socializing. Air signs tend to be the first to know things, all that tea, and are sometimes the first to pass them on. They typically prioritize accuracy and reliability in their communication, avoiding the spread of unverified rumors or gossip, but they sometimes can't help but spill the tea if rumors are juicy enough. The three signs, these three signs can be excellent sources of advice when it comes to relationships as well. They tend to see situations from a clear perspective and offer insights that help people understand their emotions better. I wore my this star shirt here today, in honor of the air signs. I've been wearing, the shirt colors to kind of match whatever sign I was talking about. So I thought a white shirt would be appropriate for air with some stars because that's like the sky and the celestial realm, right? And also the tarot card Aquarius. I mean, fuck, the star card is associated with the sign of Aquarius. So get it, stars, air, right? Okay, y'all. Let's dive into this with Aquarius. Aquarius's dates are January 20th to February the 18th. The popular symbol of Aquarius is the water bearer, or like just some waves like kind of stacked on top of each other. The element is air. Her modality is fixed. The ruling house for the sign of Aquarius is the 11th house of groups, friendships, and companionships. The 11th house in astrology is governed by the zodiac sign Aquarius and the planet Uranus. It is co-ruled by the planet Saturn, as before Uranus's revelation, Saturn was the sign's traditional ruler. The 11th house is normally called the house of companions, and it in fact rules friends, gatherings, and any sort of associations that the individual has a place in. The house centers This house centers around how we communicate with friendly individuals and how we mix into larger social structures. When it comes to our body and its correspondences, the 11th house is the ruler of our shins. That each house and like sign has like a body part that it kind of corresponds to. The house and the planets that are located within can demonstrate the behavior we have when we participate in these gatherings, as well as the motivations and objectives behind one's relationships. The 11th house speaks to all the groups that we belong to, everything from gym memberships, football affiliations, political gatherings, creative associations, the congregation of a church, or other spiritual organizations. It's anything but an individual house, as a large portion of the effects it creates in our lives are associated with other people. I want to point your attention to how it says the motivations and objectives behind one's relationships. This here is speaking to why are you in relationships with certain people? Why are you catering your energy to certain groups of people? This here is highlighting the why behind the what you're doing and whether or not you're being honest with yourself and telling yourself the truth about it. In churches, since it mentioned churches, I can talk about that. Some people go to church to give not a fuck about God, but they're there for like a community and for socialization. Some people think they're worshiping God, but they're worshiping the pastor. It just depends on the details of their life and their true internal dialogue and intentions. Because this says the motivation, the objectives behind your relationships. Just because somebody's in a relationship and going through the motions doesn't mean that they're there in the truth. They could be lying intentionally or lying to themselves. A huge part of life is coming into awareness of the truth within and letting the subconscious sync with the conscious. That's called superconscious. When you actually come into like a strong presence within yourself, until then, we can very easily slip into a state of going through emotions that we might actually think are valid and legit, and they're not. Mental constructs we set up within our minds can be very subtle and go undetected. I think about people who have undergone conversion therapy or not, and they think that they ain't gay no more, and they go marry these people for like 20 whole ass years and have all these children just to be like, you know what? I was just using this relationship to try to become straight, and I really wasn't, and I thought I was, but I'm not. On some level, they weren't really trying to deceive this other person because they had deceived themselves. They really bought into their own lie, but nevertheless, it was a lie. So this here is talking about, do you really know why you are in every relationship you're in, whatever the fuck it looks like, and are you telling yourself the truth? I was communicating with who's my friend on Instagram. Her Instagram page is She Loves Erratically, and she deals a lot with like mindful polyamory and things like that. And I've been really schooling and getting on people's asses lately about the fact that there's such a thing as low vibrational polyamory. Polyamory is not all fun and games. And if you go about it the wrong way, you can really fuck yourself up. And you know, and we agree on this because some people go into polyamory because they got burned in monogamy, but that is not, you don't go and do something because you got hurt over here. You do it because you want to do it, because that's really who you are and because of that thing's on merit. So you don't say, they hurt me over here, so I'm going to go over here. No. So you got people spiritual bypassing in polyamory. They're not really, they're avoidant of the deep attachments within polyamory, and they're using all of those different people they're sleeping with and dating, and they're not really close to any of them. You have some people in, not like close, close enough to have sex and to spend time with and to do experiences, but that's not deep, true, vulnerable, everything out on the table closeness. Some of them don't even have primary partners in their whole polycule or poly situation or whatever. So what am I saying is you have some people hiding within polyamory, hiding from themselves, hiding from their emotions. Now they're gonna come out and be like, "Oh my God, I have so much love and so many people love me and I'm so this and I'm so that," and they fucking hate themselves. And we must be careful about not letting like that self-hate, suicidal like energy be lurking right next to us in somebody who's trying to act like they're happy and they're not. So be prayerful about being able to detect what's going on within you, because you got to get you straight first. And also in the people around you. And if the way their words say don't match up, if what they say don't mean how it sounds, if the energies don't match up to the words, if you're noticing little things, don't let your friends and the people you claim to love run off from you. Now, you can't force them to do shit, but you can at least offer challenging conversation and ask them deep ass questions like, how are you really feeling? Check in. Like, would you check in, really check in? How is your spiritual journey going? What do you think of the afterlife? How is your sexual life? Are you really monitoring the energies in your sexual encounters? Are you really there for the right reasons? Have you questioned this? What does your spiritual discipline look like, friend? Let's have deep fucking conversations because therein you can uncover whether or not somebody's really fucking happy. And they might break down and cry in the middle of your inquisition because A, you care so much, and because then they have to like really face it. When we question our friends on a deep fucking soul level, you can judge those reactions and the little ways they're gonna flinch and shit like that if some shit ain't right. But we can't not accept just, oh, I'm good, girl, and just go, oh no. Because if they're really broken and hurting, and the deeper the hurt, the more they're gonna try to hide it. We gotta get past, "How are you? How have you been?" "Oh, I'm great. I've been traveling and all of this, and I got me a new boyfriend." "No, bitch. How the fuck really are you? Miss me with the experiences and the things you've been doing and the people you're boning. How are you?" No, really, because they might try to deflect to that. "Oh, I've been volunteering." People can, and I've been doing this and I've been doing that, and they're not really talking about them or like on a soul level. Be careful about that. People can set their ass right in front of a whole ass psychotherapist and do this and totally spiritual bypass the same thing and convince themselves that because they're going to therapy, it's enough and they're not actually doing the deep work. The ruling planet, as we stated, is classically Saturn, Uranus, starting in the 20th century. The tarot card associated with the zodiac sign of Aquarius is the star. The body part, as we stated earlier, the shins, calves, and ankles. So I'm going to read the erotic version of like the body part association. Aquarius is the humanitarian of the zodiac, always willing to stand up for what they believe in. This air sign is associated with the calves and ankles, the body parts that support rising up to join the revolution. And just how do you use the water bearer's erogenous zone to your advantage in bed, you might ask? Consider sex positions that put you front and center with those areas. Flip positions that enable Aquarius partners to grab hold of this region. The ankles, shins, and calves will definitely give this air sign something worth fighting for. Oh, y'all nasty, and I love it. I am here for it. So we're gonna be grabbing some ankles and and some calves and some shins and things, baby. Yes. Lord Jesus, help me. The stages of life for the sign of Aquarius are the cupbearer, also known as people pleasing, owl, also known as the search for wisdom, the angel, I'm with that, also known as living in the truth. Mm. The cupbearer, often feeling lonely or cast out early in life, they spend their beginning phase trying to fit in or be like others. This only distances them further from their own truth, Lord have mercy, and the reality that they were born different for a reason. Unfortunately, this leads to sadness, whether apparent from the outside or not, and causes them to become lost to themselves. They also will likely become people pleasers around this time as they search for acceptance and love so that they feel they have a place in this world. Only once they realize they are truly different and own that shit, I'm gonna add, and they weren't meant to fit in, will they enter their own phase of darkness to discover their purpose. Once anybody, and I don't give a damn what sign you're in, because there's some commonalities around these three phases as I've gone through and studied these stages. Once you get past this people pleasing and you cut off people from the past who you thought was always going to be there, it is only natural to enter into a time of darkness and introspection, which is what that second phase is all about. So it's like the first phase is the bullshit, how you hurt yourself and self psyched yourself out of the truth. The middle phase is dealing with that and setting with that. And the third phase is your emergence and your ascension. Expect isolation. Purposeful, spiritual, intentional isolation is what this is about. The Four of Swords card in the tarot is about just this. What came before the Four of Swords was the three. That was the people who hurt you, people who weren't who they say they were, but people who were close enough to you to inflict this type of pain upon you. You did not see them for who they were. Maybe they started off good and they changed and you failed to realize when they changed. Or maybe you saw the red flags you overlooked. And nevertheless, you got knifed in the heart in the three of swords. And then you pull that shit out and whatever happened in such a way that you could no longer deny it. In the Four of Swords, we see a knight laying on like this stone coffin type of thing with his hands in like a prayer position. The original three swords that shanked him in the heart are like on the wall in the background, or if you choose to believe, hovering over him. Then the fourth sword is like adjacent to and parallel to the floor. It looks like it's attached to the coffin he's sleeping on. However, in the distance, we see like this stained glass of like this little being praying to God. So you have like two sets of prayer hands here. This is intentional, focused, contemplative isolation. You cut bitches off because you had to and you should have. Now you got to go into hermit mode and not just sit there. You're still going to go out and volunteer. You're still going to be around people you feel like you can trust, but you're mainly going to be with yourself and the divine. Lord, I done been through this. I need you to help me make sense of out of all of this, that it be not for naught. Help me to grow. I'm withdrawing into my energy and into you so that I could emerge better. I'm going to stop moving about all the time. I'm going to stop having endless activity. And I'm going to be fucking still and find acquaintance with silence. Enter into this void of beautiful darkness so that I can come out better. Just like the caterpillar, baby. If they wanted to stay around and crawl on the ground and eat grass and leaves for the rest of their days, some going to do that. But if you really want to grow, you're going to have to go into that fucking chrysophilus, the fucking cocoon. You're going to have to go into it. And while you're in there, you won't be kikiing. You won't be sleeping around. You won't be dating. You won't be, you know, you won't be able to have the level of activity that you used to if you're going to truly go within to undergo a true transformation. You have to make some damn sacrifices and just stop. I mean, you've done all of that before any damn way. So what would it hurt to just pause for a moment so you can get better at you and better at loving you so that you can do the things you like to do better than you've done them before. But if you keep trying to do them while you're trying to transform, it's not going to work that way. It just don't go that way. You got to pause for a moment. I love it when people tell me, D or Serafina, I'd stop having sex for a minute because I just need to do me. Or, you know what? That job wasn't serving me no damn way. I got my exit plan. Or I left that bitch, that whoever the fuck I was in that relationship with, they wasn't worth shit no way. Or, I love when people come to me and they're like, you know what? I'm starting to have discipline. I'm starting to practice discipline. I've started praying. I've started fasting. I've started meditating. I love to hear that. It's foundational. They're just starting, but Yahweh can work with that seed. You got to start somewhere. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I love to hear that. It's interesting how this says that when people pleasing only distances people from further from their own truth. Because when you are a people pleaser, you're telling what you're saying is that other people's energy and other people's perspective is more important than yours. And then you lose yourself into other people. This is why, how I was stating earlier, when people have low vibrational polyamory, if you don't know who the fuck you are as a soul and you have fallen madly in love with yourself, the company you prefer first is that of the divine in you. and then everything else is extra. Let's say that again. The company you prefer is the divine in you. No place you'd rather be, and then everything else is extra. The order of care in this world is the divine, yourself, then lovers, family, friends, however the fuck you want to order all that, but it's got to be the divine first, and then you, the divine first, and then you. And a lot of empathetic and nice people think they need to put other people before them. At times we do, but that can't be your general ongoing inner working schema in your mind. I made this mistake before in the past. And when I came across somebody with wisdom who told me that I actually am supposed to put myself before like my lover or my primary partner, it didn't make sense. I was like, well, I thought I was supposed to put them first because I love them. Yeah, bitch. But if you don't take care of you, there will be no you there to take care of them. So, so this is not a selfish thing. This is an orderly and a systematic and a logical thing. You have to love yourself more than you love anybody else. And this is balance. And out of that overflow of love you have for yourself is then we then go and pour into these other people's cups, our lovers, our children, our pets, and all of that. And if you're gonna call yourself being poly, then all of these fucking energies that you're this intertwined with. But if you're not strong in who you are, why you are, and have absolute fucking confidence within yourself, and you tangle with other people's energy being poly, you're gonna lose yourself to those people. And it's gonna show up in all kinds of fucked up ways for being people pleasing, to not being sure of who you are. And these negative changes will be subtle. They're not gonna just hit you all at once. Because when you have sex and you soul fuse with people, you take on their karma, you take on bits of their energy, and you gotta be able to understand. Do you ever have like a thought come to you and you're like, "I don't usually think that way. That's not my." That could be somebody else's energy in yours, like, manifesting out that way. Like, this can happen long distance, and it certainly can happen if you're soul fusing through sexual things with people or laying in bed with people. And, I'm not against sex at all, but I am against it being done in a dumb, stupid, or unintentional and non-spiritual way, because because you're doing nothing but hurting yourself. No matter how good you feel sensually, you killing your soul if you're not doing it from like a very intentional and high vibrational spiritual way. Because you open your soul up to people when you sleep with them entirely without restriction. And and so if you solid in who you are, when you get these voices in your head, you might accept it as your own. Because when I was trying to detach from the energy of that person I was in the relationship last year, I was having like I would feel like emotions and energies and thoughts about things that aren't really my prerogative, like things that he was interested in or things that was important to him. When we were fused, then I lost myself in him and I took on a lot of his likes and things like that. And couples do this, and people in poly circles do this too. And it's cute to a point, but you have to know where you begin and where that person ends. And if you don't know where you begin and they end, that's a problem. And it wasn't until I began to get away from him where I could hear the difference now. And I was like, wait, this ain't me. This is not my desire. That's him still. There's the energy still was lingering around me. It's all vanished now. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Glory, adios. But even while you're yet in the fucking relationship, though, you have to have enough self-awareness to know where you end and your partner or partners begin. So that if you have some sort of feeling or some sort of thought, you're like, okay, that's me or that's them. But you will not have that if you're not strong going into it. Getting into poly situations and then trying to grow as a person is difficult as a motherfucker. Like, it's difficult. Like, to be sure that you know who you are before you enter into any type of relationship. The owl. An owl silently operates in the darkness, seeing all. This is the energy that you bring to your phase of discovery. You will want to experience people, the world, love, all of it, but yet there's still a separation between you and your innermost self. While this phase is teaching you how to be your true self, it will involve you trying on the identities and personalities of those around you. However, once you accept and realize you are you for a reason, and that you have never had to fit in anywhere, but rise above to attract the tribe meant for you. You ascend into your third phase of being. This is risky business here. Like trying on different personalities, like this is talking about and things like that. I remember when I was in grade school, maybe middle school or high school or something like that, I'd have a very good self-image. I didn't really know who I was. I wasn't strong within myself. But nevertheless, I was still energetically inclined and I didn't realize that I was. And I would do this thing where I would look at somebody who I guess I perceived to be better than me or stronger than me or more capable or better or whatever, had some qualities that I wanted. And it's like I would try to like put myself energetically into them or something like that in order to become them or something like that that I was doing. And these weren't people, these were just people who were just at the school or whatever, whether I knew them, too close or not. And I was in a counseling session with a high clairvoyant who raised me, and and it came up, the spirit revealed that to her. And she was like, she didn't really explain why, but she was like, she was looked at me, she was like, that thing you do where you kind of like put yourself into somebody else? You don't need to do that. Stop that. And then I worked on stopping from doing it, but on I could sense that it was hurting me, even though it didn't feel like it was hurting me. So be careful, if you go through such a phase where you're looking at other people like they have something figured out that you don't, they don't. No, they don't. People look, that's just the insecurities in you trying to lie to you and tell you that this other person who has their own issues, who might that just be saying, who just was able to come out and project confidence. That doesn't mean that they are better than you. They're different and they're supposed to be different. This whole journey you're on is to find your own truth, not somebody else's. And just because you haven't found it yet doesn't mean anything. You only think that they found it. And if they have, then that's where they're at. That has nothing to do with you. So we got to get our eyes off of other people and get them on God, get them on ourselves in a non-selfish way. It is good to focus on yourself. You have to. But be very, very careful if you enter this phase here of watching other people in such a way that you think that they're better than you and that you might want to be like them. What I'm thankful for in this is that it's saying that you're going to come to a point where you realize no matter how much you try, you can't make nobody else fit on you anyway. So that is very refreshing. Eventually, you will come to the conclusion that draws you into your third and final phase here, which is called the angel. This is what divinity on earth feels like. You have stepped into to the true power of being you. Your innermost essence means you're healing, helping, and transforming the world, or even just you're part of it to help make it a better place. You have settled into your true self and found happiness by just being that person. Because of this, you try to guide others to help learn the same and no longer care if you're misunderstood. You've reached that space of alignment and you understand what it means to live your truth, regardless of what anyone else does or says. This is true power. This is self control. This is self awareness. Awareness This is self restraint. It is very fucking powerful. Say, for instance, I go to a packed club any damn where by yourself and just go into the middle of the dance floor or hang out on the side or wherever the fuck you prefer and act like you own it. Like it's your fucking club and you own it. You don't have to have other people with you. It is a strength to be able to go out alone. That's what this reminds me of. And I see that a lot here in New York. Not everybody, but it's not uncommon to just see somebody breaking it the fuck down. And I do it a lot myself. I love going out with people at the same time. I'm like, I need to go out by myself and just own it and just serve some Naomi Campbell realness and just walk into that bitch with my sunglasses on. Like, I'm not talking to anybody tonight. I'm just, I'm just about to motherfucking twirl. And then I'm leaving and going home and being my own energy stuff. And this is not against anybody. It's not to be antisocial. It's about to just be in your own fucking power from time to time and just like own that shit. You should not feel like you can't step out of the house without a crew with you or a bestie or some damn body. If you need that, then you have a codependence on fucking people. Or if you're fearful something's going to happen to you, if you don't go out with somebody, you need to turn to that fear and see why. And this is not just men. You got little ass girls and shit here in New York who just go out fucking by themselves. I don't know if she's packing a blade or some mace in her fucking pocket. I don't know all that. But I know that it's just it's just the way it fucking is. You gotta be strong enough to go out alone. You can't just think you can't leave the house unless you got somebody with you. That's weak. It is weak. But in this phase, you don't have that. This kind of echoes what I was saying earlier, just being happy within you. And you don't need to do anything just because you exist, because you have all of this power reverberating through you. You're in touch with the divine. And how it says, or even making the world a better place, or you're part of it. Some of us are going to reach the whole world. Some people are going to reach a part of their community. Some people are going to reach their group of friends, and that could change throughout your life. It's about knowing that you are where you are, and there's nowhere else you're supposed to be, and there's nowhere else that you need to be, and there's nothing else you're supposed to be doing. This is about being fully fucking satisfied with your life. I was thinking this morning how fucking happy I am. That I mean really happy. And I stood in my window and overlooked the East River here in the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And I was just like, fuck, I'm happy. I'm happy with my body, with my mind, with my soul, with my relationship with God, my relationship with myself. There's no janky energies in anybody around me. Everything is monitored. I'm happy with my fitness routine. I'm happy with my diet. I'm happy with the books I'm reading. I'm happy with the way all my ministries and businesses are going. That's not to say nothing can be improved, but I wished I was making a lot more money with Down Under Apparel, or I wish I had read this thick stack of books I have here on my desk next to me. But time isn't yet. I was just thinking, like, I'm fucking happy. And there is nothing that I feel like needs to undergo some sort of drastic change. And if some shit pops up out of my shadow, I have tools and infrastructure in place to deal with it without flipping my shit and going off the deep end. I said, you know what? This is peace. I'm in my purpose. I'm doing what I'm here to do. I love my own energy, and I love the healing energy that's in my home and everything like that. And I'm the happiest with God in my place here in New York. And I'm totally fucking fine with that. No one else is needed. No external experiences are needed. And I said, I'm fucking happy. And I thank the Lord for that. And I bowed my head in reverence because it hadn't always been this way. I remember being the people pleaser. I mean, a year ago, you can wind the fucking tapes back and look at the shows from last year. I fucking crestfallen and broken and miserable and beaten down. I fucking was. I wasn't talking nothing like this, but everything is subject to change. And this is a very beautiful change when you enter this angel phase here and you're in line with yourself and with the divine, and you could give no fucks less about what somebody thinks of you. It says here, you no longer care if you're misunderstood. Oh, the fuck well, because the people who you used to think misunderstood you did not necessarily have good understanding in the first damn place. This is why we cannot give people power to want to be like them, how I was saying I used to do. Because in that moment, what we're saying is this person thinks better than us. They have better understanding than us. They know better than us. And we haven't even validated that. No, they don't. So if somebody misunderstands you, maybe they just have bad fucking understanding about every damn thing. Just because somebody can't see you for who you are doesn't mean they have clear vision or clear sight. They're probably looking through a broken or fractured lens anyway. Gemini, dates are May the 21st through June the 20th. Popular symbol, the twins. Element air, modality, mutable. The ruling house for the sign of Gemini is the third house of communication and technology. The third house of a natal chart is traditionally ruled by the zodiac sign Gemini and is a ruling planet, Mercury. It is thought to be the house of intelligence and of all low-level information that somebody gets throughout his life. What's more low level being like not celestial. I think is what this means here. What's more, it also rules siblings, family, and relatives, and every other person that is near somebody, for example, neighbors. Correspondence, travel, and one's skills and talents are additionally referred to in this particular area of the natal chart. Having Mercury as its ruling planet, the third house is in charge of communication. Consequently, the house incorporates both the activities that surround communication and the tech that one employs to transmit knowledge. Phones, letters, and even little strolls to see a nearby companion are altogether subjects of the third house. Even television, radios, the internet, and daily papers form an imperative piece of mass communication. I think about how when Mercury goes retrograde and fucking technology acts like it never knew what the fuck to do. Fucking shit don't click right. Shit won't open. You get locked out of shit. It's like, fuck. Yeah. The ruling planet is the Mercury. The tarot card is the Lovers. Oh my god, I love the Lovers card. Oh my god, I like to be so in love. I feel like falling in love. I feel like falling in love tonight. I'm in the mood to fuck something up. The body part or the arms. Let's talk about these sexy arms. Every day is Arm Day for Gemini. This incredibly creative air sign is associated with the twins Castor and Pollux in Greek mythology, which might be why they could have a thing for Paris. I'm sorry, which might be why they could have a thing for pairs, including arms. You know what? Lovers in Paris works. Lovers in motherfucking Paris work. So let's fly to Paris and be romantic. In bed, consider playing with kink by Lord Jesus by pinning them down or holding down their arms if they say they're into that, if you wanna keep it a little more tame, I mean, at this point, you might as well not. But massages and stretches to the hands and arms can be really pleasurable for Gemini. Okay. So Geminis, y'all either wanna be tied down and restrained or just gently massaged. Ooh, y'all some freaks. Yes, please. Let's get that. What is that? In Japanese, shibari. I think that's what they call it, like the tying people up and shit like that. I actually interviewed somebody for a show that'll come out soon who has wrote a book about their experience as the Japanese dominatrix. Mhm. The stages of life for Gemini are the twins, which is also called curious but unfulfilled. The ship, it is also called letting go in search of purpose. The stars, it is also called spiritual guide. The twins, in the beginning, life is something that is purely meant to be explored. You're constantly searching, experiencing, and taking in the world around you, seeking out newness and adventure at all costs. You seldom stop at any one thing long enough to fully learn about it. However, by spreading themselves out so thin, they feel unfulfilled and often begin to pause, asking themselves if there is more to life than just this. At this point, they take that unconscious step into the next phase of life as they begin to search for more meaning. This is akin to how I've warned you all before how options can be the illusion of freedom. See, it's not about how much of something or someone we can have, it's about quality and really setting with something long enough to milk it for what it's worth in a non using, abusive kind of way. This here is about this endless quest for experiences that I've been warning you all about lately and getting confused in your mind and taking this delusion that Lucifer is offering you that life is about doing, 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 exploring, exploring, exploring. Yeah, to a degree, but everything has to be done in balance. You can't always be fucking searching and looking and experiencing without slowing down to integrate, to study, to learn. You can't be always coming back from one trip, planning the next trip, or work and shit. All that is completely different. But you can't be constantly in and out of bed with somebody, in and out of the country, in and out of this, in and out of that, in and out of this, because then you can fuck around and get addicted to the thrill and the endorphin release that comes along with the planning of experiences, the doing of them, and all of that. You have to really, really, really be careful because some shit that is innocent intended and looks innocent can become corruptive if you do it too much. And that ain't nobody ever said like travel addiction that I've heard besides me. I believe there's some people who are flat ass addicted to travel and they do a lot of spiritual bypassing and a lot of escapism through it. And and this whole twins phase here, like the subtitle for it is curious but unfulfilled. A catchphrase in a lot of like circles of people, psychedelic and very circles that are trying to be intentional, is this constant search for like curiosity and checking this out and doing this new thing. And they want to do this new thing and they want to do this new thing and that new thing, which is brilliant. But this says curious but unfulfilled. You got to check in with yourself to see if you're fulfilled because you keep learning new shit and doing new shit. But at what point are you going to integrate it deeply? It's like the poly thing I was telling you earlier. You're curious about sex with this person, a relationship with this person, bonding with this person. But are you really slowing down to let one of those relationships be deeply fucking fulfilling to almost to the point that you would be monogamous with them, even though you're not? And that your other people that you're with are also fulfilling, though not as deeply fulfilling as your primary relationship and your whole polyamorous thing. See, what happens when we're curious but unfulfilled is we're scratching the surface and we're letting the sensual vibrations of being happy with our curiosities being filled act like fulfillment and they're never going to fulfill you. So you got to slow down and get deep with some shit rather than always be searching for the next experience or the next thing of curiosity. It's good to be curious and it's healthy, but you can't do it too much. So let's talk about this next phase, which is the ship, also called letting go in search of purpose. Like the myth of the twins in Homer's Odyssey, and this is the point of your journey where you venture off to try to find and determine your own truth and meaning, how you live and what you view as important may become challenged and will likely change during this time. The most challenging piece during this phase is that in order to keep growing, you will have to let go of how you previously saw life, which will lead to great sadness and disappointment. In order to keep moving ahead and not progress backward, you need to tap into your deep faith in being able to trust things that you can't see or explain. The beautiful thing about here is that the Lord will hit you with this sense of unfulfillment. You know, pain and discomfort are a sign that something's wrong. All right. And you can't keep ignoring that. I was talking to somebody who's very much like this, you know, very curious, always trying to see this and explore this, and yet they're not happy. And they said, you know what? There's something I want to change, but I just can't figure out what it was. Cause I was talking to this person on a very fucking deep level. And then I asked him, tell me what is it that you want? And, and he was like, I don't know. I don't have shallow conversations with people. People can play that shallow bullshit when they out there with their little whatever the fuck. When somebody comes before the Van and Serafino, oh bitch, you gonna get real with me. And people don't even try. Like they already know because my vibe, my spirit, my aura, my everything, they already know what time it is. It's gonna be a real ass conversation. We're gonna have our fun and do our drugs and party, but we gonna get 100 up in this motherfucker. Okay. And so I asked him, "Well, what do you want?" I was trying to ask him like what he wants from me, and what he wants out of life and shit like that. You don't know, you don't fucking know. But yet he out here with all these different relationships and always traveling and always doing this and always doing that, and is lost within himself. You see, the time of change is upon this individual that I'm referring to right now because we're under judgment right now, and everything is coming up for motherfucking review. As it should, because when it comes up for review, this is your chance to evolve, to just get honest with yourself and be like, I've been doing all these things. I ain't really happy with it. But then we enter into this darkness here. And it's so interesting how much light can be found in darkness. the stars. Once you have learned that just because there are disappointments in life doesn't mean that they aren't working out better than you could have planned, everything changes. Let me read that again. Once you have learned that just because there are disappointments in this life doesn't mean that they aren't working out better than you could have planned, and everything changes, and it changes for the better. This is the point that you are able to deal with rejection, life changes, and even natural endings in a healthier and more positive way. You no longer need your bubble of illusion and can instead be able to guide others with your own inner wisdom and light. I used to be so fearful of death and people dying, and because I didn't understand it, I did not, and other, traumatic things had happened. But I'm all for it now. Death, physical death, not like suicide, like natural, like death and shit like that that happens. And the death that comes when we go through transformations, the ending of relationships, getting fired from a job, or naturally outgrowing that job and let it die that way. I used to hate saying goodbye. That's very unevolved and immature, and we had to get past that. And we have to understand that closing the doors on things, putting the nail in the coffin is what is called growth. It's healthy to have a healthy outlook and perspective about the ending of things. As the Hebrew scriptures tell us, better is the end of a thing than the beginning of a thing. Since I mentioned the word scripture, one of the benefits of reading the Holy Scriptures is that it affects your vibration. This is a total fucking side quest here I'm about to take you on. I am a Sagittarius. I'm all about a side quest. I keep my bows and arrows out just in case one should come up. So here it is. One of the reasons you need to get into the Hebrew Bible and read Holy Scriptures is because it brings you up to the vibration of heaven. When you're tapped into that vibration, it heals you, it changes you, and all kinds of good things shower down upon you. You get on God's frequency, even if you don't understand what the fuck you're reading. Just the fact that you're putting in the effort to try to reach out to the celestial realm, that way they will reach back to you. That is all I wanted to tell you about something as simple as scripture reading, because I'm around people who just don't read the Bible. Okay. And you need to, because it feeds your soul, and it helps your soul to remember where it came from. Okay, so this is not about sitting around in somebody's damn church, going through their rituals or their 7 Hail Marys. This is about you alone with BibleGateway.com or whatever app or website, and just getting personal and private with God and trying to get to know Him better, and letting your soul go home for a moment when you read the Holy Scriptures. This is about helping you and developing you. Just the vibrations of it can really help to elevate you and help you to see some shit more clearly than you did before. And it can help to banish negative forces from around you as well, just tapping into that vibration. They that have an ear, let them hear. In this star phase, you understand that disappointments are a natural part of life, but you don't really look at it as disappointment anymore. It becomes more of a redirection. So if somebody doesn't call me back or they don't want to do anything, I used to be so hurt and feel so rejected. Oh, how could they? I love them so much or whatever. Once the Lord takes them out, you will view it as the divine intervening, just taking energies out of your life that you don't need to. Now look at the difference. You used to weep and holler and act like you couldn't let nobody go, be it through death or a breakup or whatever. And now you look forward to it. You look forward to having a positive perspective on it should it happen. Plans get canceled. That's a redirection. Somebody doesn't show up for a date. Redirection. Flat tire. Redirection. Canceled flight. Redirection. No need to cuss everybody out at the airport. Okay, this don't happen. That the redirection. You don't know what would have happened if that thing that you was wanting to hold on to so tightly would have happened. That could have been your death, could have been the end of you, delays, or also redirection. Flight's not leaving for 7 hours, but it's still going, redirection. Date pushed back or rescheduled, redirection. What is here for me now? Because that's not going to happen. So I might as well be present and focus on what I can do and do so within gratitude. That's the only thing that I have control over any fucking way. And I love how this is talking about how like your illusion. Some people are holding on to old relationships because they're so fucking comfortable to them and they have a fear about what might be next. You know damn well Them relationships ain't served you in eons, and you're just keeping them. And this could be subtly subconscious to you. Subconsciously holding on to them because you feel like you can't step forward. And let you know you're not stepping forward alone because the divine is with you. The scriptures say, precious in the Lord is the death of his saints. It's not just our physical deaths. The children of God, when you have to go through death and transformation in this life, God is with you. The angels are very, very close to you because God knows how tough it is to go through a birthing canal. Whatever that looks like, you are not by yourself. If you are brave enough to step out, you are not alone. You are not. But as you evolve more, you will become more sensitive. As you be in those scriptures more, you become more sensitive to feeling when you have benevolent forces around you, be they your ancestors, perhaps, angels, other good spirits. There's a lot of different type of good spirits out there besides ancestors and angels, you know. And we have so much fucking unseen help around us. There's just no reason for fear. Fear is such a crippling damn thing. But you can't keep old energies around you because that shit can weigh on your health. It can cause you to have bad health and end up in the hospital just by connecting with people whose energies are heavy and shit. But in this star phase, you ain't got no time for illusions anymore. You move on, you face shit for what it is. If it's painful, you process through it with your psychedelics, counselor, whatever, and you relish the redirection. You know your value and you stand in that. Libra, this is the sign that I was born into when I underwent my very intense and powerful name change, the death of the old name, the birth of the new name into Serafino last year when I was in Guadalajara. It was done, under a full moon in Libra. That I think it was in Libra season, but it was in September. It was just on the cusp of it, but it was definitely a full moon in Libra. And so I then took on a greater manifestation of the Libra that was already in my birth chart. But this is how my air energy came more to the front. So what you can do, if you feel like you have a lopsided or too much of a narrow birth chart, which is what a natal chart is, a birth chart and the natal chart is the same thing. I meant to tell you that earlier. You can always rebirth yourself into that zodiac sign. So somebody who I had talked to up here in New York didn't feel like their birth chart was well-rounded enough. I looked at it, it was anorexic as fuck, you know? It really fucking was. I was like, "Damn," like, their birth chart looked like it needed I needed to whip up a pot of fucking red beans and rice and some cornbread and some collard greens and some shit and feed it. My birth chart is not like that. My birth chart is all over the damn place, but I'll just be looking at other people's birth charts, and so I don't just be knowing. I was thankful for the transparency, but instead of sitting around moping about what you wish your birth chart was, what I'm trying to tell you, my lovely people, is that you have power to do something about it. And what we want to be is well-rounded. We want earth, water, air, and fire because you want balance within yourself. There's too much of anything is bad, but also too little. Like I'm a fire sign. I get in a fucking hurry real fucking quick and I'm ready to do. Doesn't take me that long to make up my mind about people. I already know I consider it. But however, I'm attracted to water signs and to earth signs. I love slow moving energy. I would never ever date somebody nowhere near as charismatic as me. It never fucking would work. Like I just am drawn to fucking slow ass moving energy. Which means I have to be patient as a motherfucker because they take their good sweet ass time about dating and getting to know people and stuff like that. Whereas I'm already ready with them, but I can't force them and shit. But there's such a thing as moving so damn fast that you fuck up opportunities and shit and just can can just fuck shit up. There's also such a thing as moving too damn slow that you miss opportunities too. And so we don't want to be too much nor too little. We want to be right in the fucking middle as much as possible. So if you feel like you're being that affected by your birth chart and the stars and the planets, then do you a rebirth under the signs that you wish to incorporate. And how you do that might be a new moon for you, a half moon for you. I love half moons, so they have to do with transformation because they're in between. The half moons are all about the active motion of going from one phase to another. The new moon is more about manifesting new. The full moon is more about fruition. But those half moons, ooh wee, them motherfuckers are about letting some. That's about being right in the middle of like the past and the fucking future. That mm, yes, 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 yes. And like people don't really fucking talk about like half moon power, a whole damn lot. I don't really see very many videos or even YouTube about that. Maybe it's not marketable for enough coin and money and shit like that. But people do a lot of new moon rituals, full moon rituals. But I'm gonna tell you, half moon rituals, that's the business too, baby. So you could do you. And look, it doesn't have to be the moon because the sun goes through signs too. Like the sun can be in Sagittarius or in Scorpio or in Pisces. There seems to be more talk about like what sign the moon is in, but the sun is also in signs too. And so if you're trying to bring something into light, you might want to do your ritual at high noon while the sun is in the sign that you want, rather than at night in the darkness under the moon. It depends on how you feel about the different vibrations. But the sun and the moon are both strong, and the sun is stronger than the moon. But the moon carries more of an allure to it because we don't see her all the time. Anything that is not as available, it seems like its value rises. But we take for granted the sun, but oh well, he gonna be there tomorrow. But the moon, we only see her like once or twice a month. Damn bitch, where you been? Tell us the tea. So, but don't forget the sun. It's like the moon affects the waves, but the sun affects the ocean waves too. But people don't give him his credit for his part to play in the fucking ocean and shit. But it's not just the moon. She's not working those waves by herself. So let us not underestimate the power of the sun and the fact that the sun is in these zodiac signs as well all the time. And so you can do a ritual with the sun or the moon, certain gemstones that have to do with these signs and and use that and alchemize that into a ritual to help to bring down for you more of this manifest power from this particular sign. It will be a lagging indicator more than likely. Now, I didn't just go have this full moon ritual in Libra and then pop up the next day all Libra. Okay, it took time. Like I like actually it's been just over a year, and now I can really detect I like how my air sign energy has increased. I would say it took over a year. I would say it took over a year for me to really begin to integrate and really feel what it means to be Serafino. So we make these changes, but it takes a while for it to be detectable. But just because you can't detect it doesn't mean it's not there. It's slowly building within you. That's why we can't get frustrated with shit and just throw it away because it's working, baby. It's working, but you got to give it time because you want it to slow build like that. Anything you do in a rush could leave, this could be fleetingly done. But letting it take its time to build slow means you have a steady, firm foundation when it shows up and ain't nobody gonna be able to take that from you. It's gonna be fucking permanent. Even though it took fucking forever, when it does show up, it's gonna be very well done. That's why I don't mind waiting on my earth and water sign people I have romantic interest in to finally come around to all of this they got with a love offer in front of them because that slow motion that they have balances out my fire and it forces us to wait so that we have a nice, long, slow ass foundation built up under us and then our relationship can last forever. So I don't mind them like holding me back because I be motherfucking ready, but I got enough sense to know that I need to let them set the pace. And we must consciously control ourselves that way. I'm like, you set the pace because I'm moving at a million fucking miles a minute over here. So it is of note that in the most popular symbology of the zodiac, not so much in the stages, but Libra is the only like non-living popular sign being the scales. Just wanted to throw that out there. Is her dates are September 23rd to October the 22nd. Element water, modality. I'm sorry, element air. Fuck, modality cardinal. Ruling house, seventh house of relationships and partnerships. In astrology, the seventh house is generally connected with the zodiac sign of Libra. As such, its planetary ruler is a Venus, and it is known as the house of relationships and partnerships. Its placement opposite to the first house on the natal chart, it makes quite a lot of sense, as the first house represents the self and the seventh house represents others in our lives. Each one-to-one relationship is ruled by it, meaning it includes lovers, business partners, even open adversaries, enemies, as well as we will see in the following text. The seventh house rules one's marriage and romantic relationships. The zodiac sign of the seventh house and any planets within it can demonstrate a great deal about the character of your lover. To be perfectly clear, in astrology, marriage doesn't technically have anything to do with getting a marriage license. Somebody can be spiritually married regardless of whether a wedding happens or not, but rather whether the relationship is of profound significance between the two persons. Let me pause right smooth the fuck there. That damn marriage license does not have any fucking thing to do with anything. That's just so you can get your damn medical coverage from your partner or for like earthly shit. As far as God is concerned, the moment you have dedicated enough of your time and energy and sex and soul to somebody and you look at them that way, y'all are fucking married. This is why Jesus in the Hebrew scripture said that if a married man lusts after somebody in their heart, if they're married and they are not like open and all of that, then he's committed adultery already, because he has had like now this is some intense lusting now. This ain't some like fleeting like, oh, that was pretty, and then you keep looking on. This is a deeper form of that, because everything is an expression of energy. Like by the time you have sex with somebody, y'all have technically done it already on a soul level. And however your physical bodies manifested, that was a physical manifestation of that. But you had already done that in the spirit before you did it in the physical. Doesn't matter how quick the hookup was, or if you've been talking to somebody for 7 months and you ain't boned yet. It you did it first because your mind's already there. You've already imagined it. You've already felt that. You've already wanted to feel that. You already, spirit goes before the body. We imagine what we want to happen, then we go do it. Everything around us, this board behind me, this shirt, was somebody's vision, an imagination that they saw. And as far as they were fucking concerned, it was real. And then it went about the business of being materialized. It's no different with sex and relationship like this is saying. You were married in the spiritual realms before you trot your ass down the aisle. In this same caveat, it's, in my opinion, it's the same thing as divorce. Like, if you know you done with that person and you slice, if they don't want to sign the divorce papers, I don't really feel like they can keep you bound, because it's a soul tie. That paper, it was not your soul tie. It just wasn't. Like you had it. Both of y'all wanted to be fused together, and that's how you got married before you signed the paper. Both of you have to want that for the marriage to remain. So whether or not you sign the divorce papers or not, if you really are, and I mean in your soul, done with that motherfucking person, it's got to be in your soul. The most finite parts of you have got to be fucking finished. That is divorce. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not saying don't go get the paperwork done or not. Depends on what's wisdom in the situation. Because when you could have all kinds of fucking children and finances and properties and shit tied up into it. When I get married, I'm not doing no paperwork, because it's, to me, that would devalue it. I don't want a paper wedding thing, a signature. There's gonna be a lot of fucking drugs, like psychedelics with shamans and shit. That's my idea of a marriage. No paperwork. It's gonna be purely soul, purely fucking spirit, that type of thing. But in that same vein, people be having perfectly good fucking relationships. And because of what has been subliminally programmed into them about what an official marriage is supposed to look like, they sign that damn paper and then they start changing. They start acting like they're supposed to be different now that they're married, or act a certain way, or, and what that is a subconscious fear and subconscious pre-programming. And now 6 months to a year later, they're divorced. but they had been together for years before they got officially married. What the fuck changed? Their point of view. That is what damn changed. Girl, bye. Anyway, I just wanted to give my amen, a high five, and two hallelujahs about how this article here is saying all these links are in the show notes about how you married, you're already married. That's why even though I was with that person I was with for 4.5 years, I call it a divorce, a true, like, soul separation. Like, we never walked down an aisle or signed no dotted line, but no, I my dedication level was married level. There was nothing that I could have done different had I signed a fucking piece of paper. That's arbitrary, and like I said, in my opinion, insulting to what the concept of marriage is, because it's really a spiritual fucking thing, through and damn through. Continuing on, when we look at the seventh house and follow the planetary transits, we can find the start of one's relationship with their life partner and even its conceivable ending. If it is the case that the seventh house is empty of planets, the ruling planet of the zodiac sign where the seventh house falls is where we should look to for all issues surrounding the relationship. The second child of the individual is likewise a seventh house matter, as additionally are the maternal grandparents. The ruling planet is Venus. The tarot card is the Justice, one of the few cards in the tarot with a double-edged sword. The body part related to the sign of Libra is the butt and the lower back. Let's talk about this butt and how baby got back. So in high school, Libra was voted most likely to overuse the peach emoji. This air sign, fucking, fuck. This air sign, this air sign may be down for a little butt play or spanking, but always be sure to ask first. Bonus points if you stroke it up and down, stroke their back up and down while you're doing it. Libras love light spanking on their butt, both giving and receiving. They are attracted to the buttocks because it reminds them of the scales they're symbolized by. I'll never look at asses the same again. The stages of life for Libra are the scales, ooh, which is also known as codependent, but you didn't see that one coming. The blindfold, which means uncertainty, and then the manifesto, which means independent. The scales, as a Libra, you always are trying to take in as many options as you can at this point of your life so that you can feel as educated as you can see as you can when making a decision or choice. While you are searching for fairness or justness, there's a strong likelihood of developing some codependent connections at this point as you try to make things be what you think they should be rather than allowing them to be what they're meant to be. You may feel dependent on others to know what to do next or even how you may feel dependent on others to know what to do next or even how you should feel about yourself. Only once you get to that breaking point of feeling like you don't know which way to go next because nothing is working will you enter into the second phase. Yeah, I've been there. It's interesting how codependency cannot feel like codependency. It's just so interesting to me how our relationships that seem to give us such pleasure can be harming us, but we just don't feel that pain. This is why we got to really, really evaluate our relationships, how they're serving us and how we're bringing value to them as well, and why we're in them. And this brings to my mind how some people, because this talks about seeing shit how you think it should be as opposed to what it's meant to be. This is like how I couldn't, see a narcissist for what they really are and didn't want to admit that they were that because I was trying to make him be like how I thought he could be or how I was. Okay. What some of us can do is, how can I say this? Think other people gonna act and show up to situations the way we do. And just because you're nice, kind, open hearted, you try to be fair, you would never cheat, lie, or steal. It's like you don't accept the fact that just as sure as you're that way, there's people in this earth who are the complete fucking opposite, who will lie, cheat, steal, do all of that and not have a conscience about it. Because you try to be just, you're laboring under the delusion that everybody else in the world is that way. And so then when people come to you and hurt you, it's like you're not really ready. And I've been this way. You're not really ready to accept that that could be true. I remember thinking, how could somebody act like that or think that way? Well, the arrogance, the hubris in it was for me. Why the fuck should everybody think like Devannon does? I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm being arrogant and demonstrating a high level of hubris by thinking everybody should think like I do. Because what I'm saying is what I think is right, what I think is fair, what I think is balanced. I think I treat people well. So should you. No, that stops at I think I'm doing the best job I can of treating people well in a fair and balanced manner. But you do you. You may or you fucking may not. And if you don't, I need to have enough quick wit to assess that and then excommunicate your ass and distance myself from you rather than trying to wait for you to act like I do, because that's never going to happen. And so, but it was like kind of an arrogant thing. And I was like, when that dawned on me, I was like, whoa, I can't be expecting people to think like I think or to approach relationships like I approach them. They may not. They may rather stab a bitch in the heart than like heal them. And that's their choice. You have some people who murder people in cold blood in this world and go home and they just have a plate of food like they've done nothing wrong. And whereas you have us empathetic people who might worry if we said one wrong word to somebody and let it take peace from us, you you or stepped on somebody's damn fucking crocodile damn shoes or something. People all over the place in their value systems and what they have and things like that. And mentioning that word value system, that is something you'd also need to sort out. Literally, if you have to write down your damn value system, what do you believe in and why? Just like companies have core values to help guide the organization, you need to have some set fucking standards for yourself. I believe in this because of this, and this is how I'm going to present. I wrote out core values for House Serafino when I became Serafino as the leader of this house and its founding father. I wanted written core values because there's energy in that that can help direct the house energetically. You got to know what your values are, what you stand for, and why. I'm a person who always tells the truth. I try to be on time to respect other people's time. I won't cheat. I like to use my sex intentionally, and I will only become undressed for people when it is fucking well worth my time and well worth my energy. People who I can foresee in my life for the foreseeable future in some dynamic. I'm a person of knowledge. I love to seek knowledge and to read. I love to do intentional travel, going to places where I feel the spirit is calling me to be. I love humanitarianism and volunteering or whatever the fuck your values are. I love to teach. These are like some of my fucking values, but you got to sort out what yours are. And when you have that and you are looking at that every day, it can fortify you and refortify you and give you a certain type of strength inside of you once you're studying yourself, once you list who you are, who you want to be, and you like look at it from time to time or daily or whatever, put that shit on your vision board, put your fucking value system on your vision board, vision of who the fuck you want to be, not what you want to get, but who you want to become. And right next to what you want to get, because there's space for that too. But but yeah, that's how that can work. The blindfold. Essentially, during this stage, you give up trying to be fair or just, and instead make decisions based on what you want or need at the moment. You decide that since no one else is abiding by these virtuous rules, that you feel called to pursue them, that you feel called to pursue, then you shouldn't either. Hold on. This is that live in the moment shit that people have. I'm gonna caution you here This kind of echoes that vibration and that nastiness from being so damn curious that you get lost in the process and you become a slave to your curiosity. You never really arrive at any fucking destinations because you're always wondering about rather than actually showing up and driving your fucking stake in the sand anywhere. What you can do, drive your stake in the sand and continue to be curious. But the problem is the endless curiosity. This is a different type of toxicity, which hurts people. Is this being always in the moment? Shit, there's being present and conscious in the moment and not wanting to plan for any fucking thing. You ever have somebody who almost act like they're afraid or just have some type of thing against planning, setting a date a month in advance, almost like it's robbing them of their goddamn agency and autonomy to it's like they want to wait till last minute to decide anything that they're going to do. I don't like that fucking energy. I've never liked that fucking energy. I love planning shit far the fuck out. I'll plan a trip a year in advance because I like the anticipation of it. But I'm also open to last minute things, but I'm not against the one or opposed to the other. These type of people scorn the idea of planning something far out like it's some type of entrapment or some shit. It is not no damn entrapment to plan because those same damn people, if it's valuable enough to them, will plan certain shit in advance. They just won't do it usually, but they fucking hate doing that shit for you, because I guess they just don't wanna do that for you. But be careful about that because there's warning here about being always so last minute and in the momentish about shit because you could be doing some spiritual bypassing through that. What is so damn bad about committing to something for the long term? You enter the dark side of your psyche, seeing only the negative, jealous, and unscrupulous tendencies in life. During this phase, you feel as badly about yourself as you do about the outside world, even at times giving up trying to do the right thing or even what you feel called to do. Once they realize that listening to their internal compass is what defines them and makes them who they are, they begin to move beyond their pain. A lot of this that I just tiraded against people who are just constantly seeking experiences, constantly seeking curiosities, acting like they can't be still, don't want to commit to a plan, to you, or to anything. A lot of this is low key hidden fucking pain. And it presents as somebody who's always doing something or just want to be spontaneous and in the moment. Yeah. Watch them damn people. Maybe, maybe not. You must understand that some of this could just be fucking pain, a trauma response. Somebody could have hurt them, and now they just want to live footloose, wild, and fancy free. They're not going to commit to anything and anyone anymore. They're just going to live in the moment. That wild shit ain't worth shit. That is so immature, and it is so, like, underdeveloped and unevolved. It is not. It's like, I'm gonna bitch at low vibrational polyamory one more damn time before we talk about this manifesto, and I hang this up. Besides needing to know who the fuck you are when you enter into polyamorous situations before you but at least you get lost in all the personalities and energies that you're bound to get involved in, you need to have a poly plan. That I think that's what my friend was talking about at her Instagram page. She loves radically. And I've had her on my show before too, I think. Yeah, I've had her on my show. You can't just what it was, her Instagram thing had this Donald Trump meme of how people were be asking him at debates like what his plan is. And he's all like, I've got some ideas. I'm gonna do that thing. He don't really answer the fucking question. And I get other politicians do it too, but the shade was being thrown where it was being thrown to deal with it. You should not go into any fucking thing in life like this, but especially other thing that involves other eternal souls because of the impact that those eternal souls can have on you and you on them. You can't hop your ass into this life of being polyamory without structure. I was looking at the buildings, the tall buildings outside of my place here in the Upper East Side of Manhattan while I was contemplating this polyamorous foolery, low vibrational polyamorous foolery earlier. And it occurred to me like, polyamory is like this building I'm looking at. These, let me see, I'm up here on the 23rd floor. So these here had to be maybe like 13, 14-story buildings. Polyamory is like this. You think you're woman enough, man enough, other enough to handle all of this love, all these emotions, all these energies, all this sex. You got this much time on your hand, you this much of a boss. Okay, fine. If that be the case, but you can't go at something with that many moving parts, that many intricacies, that many dynamics to it without structure. Otherwise, you will burn yourself up because it's like entering into this building and one room won't do. For whatever reason, you didn't want to be in the monogamous house with just one room or two. You wanted a poly place with all these different rooms. Okay. Caveat, be sure you're doing, I'm going to say this again, be sure you're doing polyamory because it's truly who you are, not because of anger or something you have against monogamy. Okay. Polyamory is like entering into this building with all these different rooms because you felt like you had more than enough to be in all these different rooms. Okay. But this building provides you structure, but you're moving about freely with all this freedom you claim that you want and need and can't live without have to have, but you're moving freely within a structure, within confines, within restraints. People who don't have a poly plan, who scorn monogamy, think that monogamy is going to imprison them, but really they'll take their asses out there into polyamory without a structure to it and to become imprisoned to the polyamory. But you become a prisoner to these freedoms that you claim to have without being able to balance those energies out and to be able to account for them, like I discussed earlier in the episode. When negative energies show up into these poly situations, because everybody you're sleeping with and they're sleeping with, all those energies are connected. And let's just say, for instance, somebody has negative intentions. At least if you, be they a witch or whatever, if you out there poly like that, the chance that you're going to come across a sex witch at some point is highly fucking likely. And what people don't have is a contingency plan. No spiritual before fucking defenses built up. They don't have psychic wards in place and different things like that that can be done. Because a lot of people that I talk to in poly situations ain't close to God. They think their sex is their spirituality. It is, but God should be too. They think connecting with the earth is spirituality. That's true, but God created the earth. The earth is beneath God. It's not as powerful as God, and the earth is not a God, as far as I'm concerned. The word says the heavens is God's throne, and earth is God's footstool. The earth is a tool that for God, and that earth is something God has given us to help us. But I do not view the earth as a God. And I can tell you the earth cannot help release you from witchcraft. And so, but let's just say, be it a witch or some other sort of negative energy that has crept into you through something you've done with someone else, because y'all are all poly and all at each other's energy. Well, at least if you have parameters and you're in this structure here, you can better troubleshoot where the fuck the problem's coming better troubleshoot. It's going to be a process either way because there's more than two people involved. If it's monogamous, then it's either one of the fucking two of you. If it ain't you, then it's got to be them. So, but this is about weighing the pros and cons and not just thinking polyamory is about, "Oh, I'm free and nobody's going to tie me down and I can do whatever the fuck I want, whoever the fuck I want." It's all about your perspective. Loving one person can totally feel like fucking freedom. It just depends on how you two go about it. Being involved with all these different energies can chain you down and siphon your energy away, and you could become a prisoner of your own making and don't even fucking realize it. Especially if you don't have a poly plan, you need to review those relationships, to ask hard questions and all of those things. I was looking at this building going, this building took time to build. It was not a rushed thing. You can't just go onto sex and dating apps and find you 5 people to date and call it polyamory. You need to be taking your fucking time and slowly taking time to add people to your polyamorous life. This is true polyamory, what I'm talking about. Because some people are just being hoes and fucking a lot of people and calling it poly. You're not poly, you're just a hoe. Try to call it poly if you want, but you ain't fooling nobody but you. Then I looked at this building, I was like, this is foundation. It took time to build this. They had to lay out plans for this building. They had to run contingencies, put insurance in place, set up protections, be sure this happened, made sure it was built from good stuff, and then they opened the doors to one person. Then slowly they added another. Then when it made sense, and then they made sure they took time to just be with their primary at times and to cut off connecting with the others for a moment to really refortify, in the main room of this place. It's conscientious thing which must be done and not just sensually surfed through with experiences. It can be beautiful, and you should have God right in the middle of it. God is not opposed to polyamory. Half the damn Old Testament got plenty of wives and plenty of every damn thing, but they had God with them too. And if you don't have God, well, you pretty much open yourself up for negative forces or the devil. Mm. Oh, you just do. Shit. The manifesto. Become the great manifesto during this stage of your life. With your head and heart in sync, there is nothing that you can accomplish, no longer burdened by unhealthy relationships or needing others to define you. You've grown beyond the simple definition of what fairness is and instead subscribe to a more universal approach to balance. This is what gives you power during this last phase and helps you continually rise above whatever challenges may litter your path. Well, this sounds quite tasty. Who wouldn't want a helping heaping slice of this manifesto right here? I know I do. Sign me up. Yes, please. No longer burdened by unhealthy relationships or needing others to define you. I wonder how many of you would confess that you've been in polyamorous situations because you needed validation from those people and you really weren't there with full love to give. I wonder how many of you have the power to walk away from polyamorous relationships because you understand that you need time for yourself, or individual monogamous relationships, or blood family, or whatever the fuck the case might be. I wonder. I wonder how many of you actually understand how relationships can be truly a burden. I wonder how many of you understand the extent to which, when this says unhealthy, how unhealthy relationships can land you in the hospital, if not the grave. That your body can only take so much stress. I'm going to tell you, the very people who you won't walk away from, if you were like in a hospital, a lot of them people are not going to come see about you. It's bad to be physically broken and then heartbroken when the people you would have gone to the hospital for, you find out won't fucking go to you for you. Those of us who've been arrested and been to jail, shit. You think certain people would come bail you out? Are your homies you partying with, the people you sleeping with? Oh no. Even blood family will leave your ass in fucking jail. It's always such a damn surprise when something we might call unfortunate befalls us in life. Who really fucking shows up for us? Sometimes it's not who the fuck you think it would be. But when we reach these elevated stages, the people who we have around us actually would show up because we're double checking this and we're making sure that who we have around us is not no necessarily large group of damn people, but a small elite fucking group. Then the first damn place is all you've ever needed. And people really fucking cut for you. You can tell if you have healthy relationships by going inside and checking your own motives. Am I people pleasing with these people? Am I adding value to them? Do we feel balanced? Does the energy feel balanced? Does these people who are around you for these janky ass purposes, it's not like you never felt like this shit wasn't right. You just overlooked it. You didn't feel that imbalance. You just paid no attention to it, or you wrote it off, or you thought maybe you could fix it or change it. Here, once you evolve, either the shit balanced or it's not. And if it ain't, it's going. It's got to go. Cut it out. Done. It's either going to change and get balanced or it's not. We're not tolerating no nonsense. So that's all I have to say. I'm going to go ahead and close this one down too. Please share this with people. I hope you will learn something. I hope you actually tell yourself the truth and really set with these lessons. I believe I'm telling you what I hear from the divine, from God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Ghost. I let it flow through, believing it will land where it's supposed to. Our website is sexdrugsandjesus.com. Downunderapparel.com is our lingerie website in case you want to grab some things to play with these zodiac body parts with your lovers, or to take them into your polyamorous situations, your beautiful, honorable, monogamous situations too. Or for your mindful masturbation that you do by yourself. There's nothing wrong with getting sexy in lingerie or beautiful boxers or whatever to just make love to yourself. Our YouTube channel is Sex, Drugs, and Jesus Podcast. We're on YouTube at Down Under Apparel, Down Under Apparel as well. So the next time I see you, we'll be talking tarot. Until then, I love you. Thank you all so much for joining us today and for taking some time to invest into yourself and into the lives of your loved ones. Please visit us at sexdrugsandjesus.com and check out our resource page, our spiritual service offerings, my blog, my books, and other writings that God has partnered with me to create. Find us on any social media platform. Stay strong, my people, and just remember that everything is going to be all right.